What if a win does not feel like a win at all and instead raises more concerns than confidence? That is the question hovering over Green Bay after a game that was supposed to restore stability, but instead opened a new chapter of uncertainty as the Packers walked out of New York with a victory, yet found themselves immediately worrying about the status of their featured running back Josh Jacobs, whose injury now looms larger than the final score. It forces the franchise to confront a troubling reality at a crucial moment of the season. The Green Bay Packers managed to escape the bright lights of the Big Apple with the result they desperately needed in order to steady a season marked by inconsistency and frustration, but the success came at a price that no one in the organization wanted to pay. The team suffered a wave of injuries that shifted the narrative from relief to anxiety, and at the center of that concern is the condition of Josh Jacobs, whose early exit changed the entire feel of the afternoon and left fans wondering what comes next. Quarterback Jordan Love absorbed a hard hit to his shoulder that forced him to miss a drive, and although he eventually returned, there was an unmistakable tension in the air as backup Malik Willis entered the game and unexpectedly engineered a touchdown drive while the offense attempted to improvise under difficult circumstances. Even so, the biggest blow arrived when Jacobs went down with a knee injury in the first half and was almost immediately ruled out, signaling that the medical staff had real concern about what they saw. In the initial evaluation reports from Adam Schefter and Rob Demovsky indicate that Jacobs will undergo further testing to determine the full extent of the injury, and while early signs do not point to a season-ending diagnosis, the team is preparing for the possibility that their most powerful and dependable offensive weapon might miss time during a stretch where every game carries higher stakes than the last. It was a frustrating development because Jacobs was poised to deliver one of his best individual performances of the year. He had already logged 40 rushing yards on 7 carries, showing a burst of production that the Giants' defense could not contain, and his average of 5.7 yards per touch reflected a level of efficiency the Packers have struggled to generate consistently throughout the season. On the year, Jacobs has reached 648 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns, numbers that reinforce his ability to change the rhythm of a game even when the offensive line continues to battle major run blocking issues. His average of 3.8 yards per attempt marks one of the lowest of his career, but it also reflects how often he is met by defenders at or behind the line of scrimmage, a problem that has challenged the Packers coaching staff and prevented the team from establishing the ground game they rely on to balance their offensive identity. Jacobs remains one of the most talented and respected running backs in the league, and losing him for any number of games would put immediate pressure on head coach Matt LaFleur, who is already navigating an offense that has struggled with drop passes, inconsistent execution, and a lack of rhythm that has made each week feel like a new test of resilience. The Packers now return home to prepare for a divisional showdown with the Minnesota Vikings, and although the team has not ruled Jacobs out, they understand how important he is to competing against a defense led by Brian Flores, who specializes in disrupting offenses that lack stability. The Packers' win column grew on Sunday night, but the process of reaching that victory was anything but smooth. The past several weeks have challenged the Packers mentally, physically, and strategically. Every aspect of their performance has been inconsistent, erratic, and difficult to predict, and the locker room entered this matchup carrying the weight of 2 painful losses that amplified national criticism directed toward Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur as the offense sputtered and fans grew restless. The message entering this game was simple: win in any way possible and deal with the details later. The victory itself was far from elegant, but it represented a moment when Green Bay did not collapse under pressure even as circumstances threatened to unravel the team. For the second straight week, injuries piled up, including the loss of Jacobs. Jordan Love temporarily left the field, and receivers dropped several critical passes. Extra points were missed in swirling winds, and momentum swung back and forth in a pattern that mirrored many of the recent frustrations. Yet the Packers continued to battle through their own mistakes and found a way to outlast their self-inflicted issues, which has long been the obstacle preventing them from closing tight games. LaFleur needed a rebound performance to calm the growing criticism, and he delivered a stable and effective game plan that allowed Jordan Love to regain confidence after 2 rough outings. Love himself displayed calm leadership and refused to fold under adversity, guiding the offense with steadiness even when execution around him faltered. His game-winning throw to Christian Watson highlighted his growth as a poised decision-maker, and Watson reinforced his own development by delivering 2 of the strongest contested catches of his Packers career, solidifying his position as a first-read target. On the defensive side, the Packers surrendered their first opening half touchdown of the season, creating early doubt about how the game would unfold. But the unit regrouped, applied pressure throughout the second half, and forced Jameis Winston into costly mistakes, including an interception, while Micah Parsons closed the game with a decisive strip sack that shifted momentum entirely in Green Bay's favor. Special teams offered their own dramatic moments as kicker Brandon McManus played through the same lingering injury that has limited him and followed a franchise record kick with a missed extra point, due in part to strong winds, but also reflecting the unpredictability that has surrounded the unit all season. Now the Packers turn their attention to a Minnesota Vikings team eager to right the ship after falling to the Bears, a team widely expected to struggle yet finding ways to win late in games. The Vikings will be motivated and dangerous, and it will be up to the Packers to continue overcoming their own mistakes, executing with discipline and maintaining momentum during the stretch, where small details determine the trajectory of the entire season. As always, if you enjoy in-depth coverage, thoughtful breakdowns, and consistent analysis of every development in the Packers season, consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Your voice, your presence strengthen this community and help us continue delivering detailed and engaging content week after week.